If you're a small business looking to let go of one of your employees, you may be wondering what you should avoid during this process. I'm Mike from Cash and Legal, and in this video, I'm going to cover what not to do when terminating your employees. At the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of how to manage the termination process, as I'll provide you with some tips for letting go of your employees. At the outset, I want to state that the information in this video is general in nature and is not meant to cover every specific set of circumstances. If you have particular concerns about terminating an employee's employment, do not hesitate to click the link to our website in the description to this video and book a consultation with our office. Let's start with some basic facts about terminating employment. It is generally understood that employers have very wide latitude when it comes to terminating the employment of one of their employees. Provided that you are letting someone go without cause, you generally do not need to justify the decision. For this reason, it is generally best practice to avoid providing reasons for termination when you are letting someone go. However, even though employers have wide latitude in the reasons for termination, you still need to be very careful about how you carry out the termination process. This means you should pay close attention about how you inform employees about the termination of employment and how they are treated through the termination process. So, what shouldn't you do during the termination process? It is important to avoid subjecting the employee to treatment that is harsh, misleading, or unduly insensitive. If the employer engages in activity that might be considered harsh, misleading, or unduly insensitive, the employee is likely to advance a claim for aggravated damages. This can significantly complicate the termination process by giving the employee additional leverage in severance negotiations. What are some examples of behavior that might be considered harsh, misleading, or unduly insensitive? One example is advancing false allegations of cause at the time of dismissal. Some employers feel incentivized to allege just cause when terminating employment, because if they can prove just cause, then they don't need to pay the employee any severance. However, if you advance false allegations of cause at the time of dismissal, a court may view this behavior as the type of conduct that attracts an award of aggravated damages. For this reason, cause should only be alleged where there is a sufficient basis to do so. Another example of conduct to avoid is doing anything that would cause unnecessary embarrassment to the employee. Terminating employment can be very awkward within the workplace and almost always involves the employee feeling some degree of embarrassment. However, you should always avoid conduct that is unnecessarily embarrassing to the employee. For example, you should not terminate someone's employment in a public setting. While it is generally appropriate to have someone from human resources or management present to act as a witness during the termination process, an employee's employment should not be terminated in front of their colleagues or in front of customers. Similarly, making unnecessary criticisms or ridiculing an employee during the termination process is conduct that might be considered unduly insensitive. Another type of behavior that might attract award of aggravated damages is refusing to pay the employee anything that they are technically entitled to. When you let someone go without cause, they are entitled to basic minimum amounts of severance under the code. These amounts should be paid regardless of whether an employee signs a release. If these amounts are improperly withheld, a court may view that as the type of behavior that warrants aggravated damages. Similarly, you should not withhold any vacation pay, holiday pay, or any other amounts that the employee is legally entitled to. What should you do as a small business in order to avoid these types of allegations? I encourage you to establish a written document that includes best practices and policies to follow during the termination process. If these practices and policies are regularly followed, this will reduce the chance that one of your employees engages in behavior that could be considered harsh, misleading, or unduly insensitive when terminating another employee's employment. Your policy should set out that the termination process is carried out with dignity and respect, and provide people with guidelines on how to do this. The policy should also include a standard termination letter. This letter should include the basic information that an employee ought to receive on termination of their employment. For example, the letter should clarify how much the employee can expect to receive on termination due to accrued vacation pay, outstanding holiday pay, and any severance that the employee might be receiving. The termination letter should also stipulate the final day of work and confirm any conditions that the employer needs the employee to satisfy up to this final day. Additionally, the termination letter should provide the employee with basic information about their benefits, when they're ending, and whether the plan provider offers any options for continuation. If you're thinking about letting go one of your employees and you have questions, we can assist you with this. We provide small businesses with clarity about the termination process, strategies for letting people go, and peace of mind through sound advice and strong representation. If you have any further questions after watching this video, do not hesitate to click the link to our website in the description to this video and book a consultation with our office today.